of encountering the same problem, of making the same mistake that was made by the previous government in the person of previous President Mr. Poroshenko. If the current authorities begin their political path from and by persecutions against the opposition, nothing good is going to come out of this. As far as I understand, there is opposition in the parliament which wields a great deal of support and trust of the voters, which was confirmed during the elections. So it would be very strange if the authorities decided to introduce tighter rules. The opposition is not taking to the streets. They are not trying to violate the legislation or the constitution. And I think it would be a mistake if attempts were made to prevent them from exercising their rights under the constitution. Very briefly, we touched upon an issue that is very important to everyone present here. That's the issue of Iran and sanctions, and the third phase of the withdrawal from the JCPOA. Prime Minister Abe, recently you've been to Iran. Incidentally, it was very interesting to see this picture, this image of the Japanese side and the Iranian side on the other side. It was not a coincidence that you went there. So what do you think about this future of the JCPOA? What are your relations with the countries involved in this discussion and in this conflict, which is also related to the freedom of navigation? So what's the way out?
日本はまず核合意については支持をする立場であります。
As for Japan, then we have long talked to the US that we have our very own opinion. And concerning Iran and the nuclear deal issue, I wish that it would be resolved through negotiations. Japan has historically friendly relationships with Iran, and I've always considered that we need to use, in the best possible way, those friendly ties. That is why I visited Iran and I talked to the president, Mr. Khomeini, and he said very clearly that Iran is not going to produce or use nuclear weapons. He said that very clearly. The supreme leader said it. As for the president of Iran, he said the following: we will strive to establish a dialogue and resolve all the problems through dialogue. And Japan provides support. As for our resources, we really use a lot of resources from the Middle East, and the energy resources coming from there are very important for our country. So security of tankers coming from there is very important for us. We need to ensure security there, and France is doing a lot, and Japan is doing a lot to ensure security. We will use our friendly ties, our historically friendly ties, in future, and we have talked about it with President Putin as well.
Если иногда теряется перевод здесь через два языка, насколько мне известно, я повторю на всякий случай свой вопрос, чтобы переводчики успели. Будет ли собирается ли
Is India going to send its naval forces to the Strait of Hormuz from the Gulf to the Indian Ocean, where the Persian oil is going through?
भारत का इतिहास दुनिया के सामने है। यूएन का जो पीस कीपिंग फोर्स है, उसमें सबसे अधिक योगदान करने में भारत की बहुत बड़ी भूमिका रही है।
तो भारत के सैनिक हमेशा पीस कीपिंग फोर्स के अंतर्गत ही काम करने के आदी रहे हैं। आज तक हमने कभी भी आज़ाद भारत ने ऐसी कोई प्रवृत्ति नहीं की है। ये सही है कि प्रथम और दूसरे विश्व युद्ध में, जो कि न ही हमारा एजेंडा था न ही हमारा मिशन था, लेकिन 2 विश्व युद्ध में भारत ने करीब 1.5 लाख लोग हमारे शहीद हुए हैं। हमारा हजारों साल का इतिहास है। भारत कभी भी इस प्रकार की प्रवृत्तियों से जुड़ा हुआ नहीं है। लेकिन जहाँ तक हमारे एनर्जी सिक्योरिटी का सवाल है, हम अधिकतम ईरान पर डिपेंडेंट रहे हैं हमारे एनर्जी सिक्योरिटी के लिए। लेकिन पिछले दिनों वहाँ की जो समस्या हुई उसका साइड इफ़ेक्ट हम पर न हो, इसलिए हमने हमारी एनर्जी सिक्योरिटी को कोई तकलीफ न हो, हमारे जहाज़ों को कोई तकलीफ न हो, उनकी सुरक्षा की व्यवस्था हमने करके रखी हुई है। और वो सिर्फ भारत के हमारे जो ऑयल टैंकर हैं उसकी सुरक्षा की व्यवस्था है। हमने किसी को टारगेट करना या किसी की व्यवस्था में दखल देना, न ये हमारा लक्ष्य है, न हमारी योजना है, और न ही दुनिया में कोई हमारे इस विषय को लेकर के कोई नेगेटिव चर्चा करता है।
So, Mr. Putin, what about Russia's military presence? Because in the Soviet time it used to be the case. Considering the development of our navy and our military forces, this is not a problem for us, but it's not about that. We need to make all actions efficient and for them to bring about peaceful resolution and greater security and safety in the region and the Strait of Hormuz. Several years ago, Russia presented an initiative to create an international mechanism with the participation of all the interested countries in the region and all those wanting for those routes to function properly, involving Russia, the US, and Asian countries. In future, we could even create a special international organization to resolve any issues arising there. We are discussing that with my colleagues, including with our Chinese partners and with our partners from other countries. We will see what it will lead to, but Russia is interested for the situation to become less tense, and all actions should lead to a calmer situation and to resolve the issues around the Iran nuclear program based on the previously adopted international documents, which were confirmed by the relevant resolutions of the Security Council of the UN. In this case, the last question regarding security, there's an interesting change in the world. Considering the UK, US, there are 3 countries in NATO, but there is also Russia, India and Pakistan in another organization, but a lot depends on various agreements when it comes to strategic stability. In your address to the Federal Assembly 2 years ago, you talked about new types of weapons, the supersonic weapons, hypersonic weapons. Could they become a part of a greater deal with the Americans? Yes, we believe that the existing instruments, and there's only one left, the New START Treaty, and this treaty has indeed been signed between Russia and the US. And currently, the US has a new version of the treaty. They want to also involve China in this treaty, but China has been consistent in saying that Chinese nuclear potential is much lower than Russia's or the Americans, and that's why how could they lower it if they have it low per se? This is what the situation looks like today, but you should not forget that the US did not even join the Treaty on the Comprehensive Ban of Nuclear Tests, CTBT, and now we also have the danger of placing weapons in outer space, and those are all very serious challenges that the humanity might face. And now, over our heads, in space, there would be some type of weapons present, even nuclear weapons. And a very short time it would travel the distance. So it would make defense options very complex. So it might drastically change the security situation around the globe. As for now, American partners, when we propose to continue talking about disarmament, they remain silent. There's nothing new about that. We have met with American partners last time in Osaka, and we discussed how we can possibly account for our new weapons, especially hypersonic missile systems, and no country in the world has weapons like that, even the US. So I said maybe you could sell such weapons to America, and then we could even the balance. But they say that maybe they might produce such weapons themselves, maybe, but then why would they spend the money if we have already spent the money and we can gain something from them? It would not be a breach of our security, but would help to create a balance. We can also talk what could be accounted for when we talk about various types of weapons and launch vehicles. Russia is ready to talk about that, but so far we have not received a coherent response from the US. Our session has been going for a long time, so maybe we should talk about the last major topic, and it is a common topic for us. As the President of Mongolia asked to call you regarding the forest fires, he talked to the American president. However, you might think of nature and the problem of the climate change. There are different versions, but we are not talking about that. But we see some unprecedented changes around the world. It's not about satellite connectivity and us knowing faster about, say, the forest fires in Brasilia than elsewhere. We can just observe that there are great changes. I like to collect mushrooms, and until last year I collected mushrooms in October. So maybe you actually set the forests on fire. No. So I only collect mushrooms in Moscow, in the Moscow region. This is a very complex topic, so I would like to apply it to the participants of the session. Russia likes it that the Arctic Ocean gives more time for marine traffic, that doesn't have ice coverage, but at the same time we know that on the shore the fact that we see snows melting and permafrost melting, and I have witnessed that rivers are not covered in ice, and that's why there's a problem with deers and they cannot cross the rivers, etc., etc. This is a common topic because Russian Arctic oil and gas will pass through a new route, which was named by the Prime Ministers of India and Japan. And the problem with the Siberian forest fires reaches Mongolia. So we have a climate agreement, so maybe we should implement that, but I guess we should do more. Let's start with the President of Mongolia, who first addressed the topic, what could we do together, seriously do together, in order to combat this problem? As I've already said, we live on the same planet. Those are all our mistakes. Those are all our problems. And today, waste has become a truly global problem. Just like air pollution, environmental pollution, there are companies with a certain status, and they should make a contribution into environmental protection. Perhaps they could dedicate 1% of their overall income in order to combat environmental damage. And we have a major company which contributed 1% of their revenue to the environmental foundation. So perhaps we could create a global environmental foundation and to call upon the companies to dedicate a certain percentage of their revenue to this foundation. Perhaps within the G20 or within the G7, we do not have another planet to spare. So we need to be responsible when we talk about our future. And India, you have the task to make India the first country to use electric mobiles by 2030. But then you have to make them using coal, oil, gas. How could you combine that?
मैं मानता हूँ इस फोरम में जलवायु परिवर्तन की चिंता होना बहुत स्वाभाविक है और ज़रूरी भी है, और मैं आपको बधाई देता हूं कि आपने इस महत्वपूर्ण मुद्दे को स्पर्श किया है। आज हमें जो कुछ भी नसीब हुआ है वो कभी न कभी हमारे पूर्वजों ने बचा के रखा था, उसके कारण हमें नसीब हुआ है। इंसान के नाते विश्व के किसी भी कोने में क्यों न रहते हो, हमने भी हमारी भावी पीढ़ी के लिए कुछ बचा के रखना होगा, उनके लिए विरासत में देकर के जाना होगा ताकि वे भी सुख चैन की जिंदगी जी सकें। महात्मा गांधी ट्रस्टीशिप के सिद्धांत की चर्चा करते थे और वो हमेशा कहते थे, और उसी स्पिरिट से हमने भी सोचना चाहिए कि हम एक पृथ्वी के ट्रस्टी हैं। हमें हमारी उपयोगिता से अधिक किसी भी से छीनने का अधिकार नहीं है। अगर ये सिद्धांतों का पालन हम समाज व्यवस्था में ला सकते हैं तब जाकर के इस समस्या का समाधान होगा। हम सोचते होंगे कि टेक्नोलॉजी से समस्या का समाधान होगा, सामूहिक मिलकर के रिजोल्यूशन करने से होगा। ये सबसे बड़ा हर इंडिविजुअल नागरिक के बिहेवियरल चेंज से जुड़ा हुआ विषय है और उसमें एक सेंसिटिविटी होनी चाहिए कि उस दिशा में जाएं। हमने उस टेक्नोलॉजी को विकसित करना होगा, जैसे भारत ने COP21 में 175 गीगावाट रिन्यूएबल एनर्जी का लक्ष्य टारगेट किया ताकि हम क्लाइमेट चेंज, ग्लोबल वार्मिंग की समस्या में कुछ पॉजिटिव कंट्रीब्यूशन करें ताकि भविष्य में दुनिया को तकलीफ ना हो। आज मुझे गर्व से कहना है कि 175 गीगावाट में से हम काफ़ी मात्रा में सोलर एनर्जी की ओर शिफ्ट कर गए, काफ़ी हमने कंट्रीब्यूशन किया है और जो टारगेट हमने तय किया है 2022 तक 175 गीगावाट रिन्यूएबल एनर्जी का वो हम पूरा कर लेंगे। जहाँ तक मोबिलिटी का सवाल है, दुनिया को अभी से सोचना होगा कि हम इलेक्ट्रिक व्हीकल की तरफ, मोबिलिटी की तरफ कैसे ध्यान दें। लेकिन अगर मैं व्हीकल पर बल देता हूँ तो एक मार्केट और बिजनेस उसकी तरफ जाता है। हमारा फोकस है क्या भारत इलेक्ट्रिक व्हीकल के लिए बैटरी, और वो भी सोलर सिस्टम से रिचार्ज हो ऐसी बैटरी, उसका मैन्युफैक्चरिंग हब बन सकता है क्या। और इसलिए हमने हमारी जितनी भी नीतियां बना रहे हैं उस नीतियों के केंद्र बिंदु में हम पहले प्रमोट करना चाहते हैं बैटरी का निर्माण। एक बार जैसे मोबाइल फ़ोन इसलिए पॉपुलर हुआ क्योंकि धीरे धीरे उसकी बैटरी छोटी होती गई और उस बैटरी की ताकत भी बढ़ती चली गई, 12 घंटे, 24 घंटे, 36 घंटे, उसके कारण मोबाइल फ़ोन की अफोर्डेबिलिटी बढ़ गई। वैसा ही इलेक्ट्रिक व्हीकल में भी बैटरी सबसे बड़ी महत्वपूर्ण विषय रहेगा। और एक मेरा मिशन और है भारत में क्लीन कुकिंग का। हमारे यहाँ करीब 250 फैमिलीज़ हैं, घर हैं जिसको कहें, 250 मिलियन अगर हमारे यहाँ ये है तो मुझे 250 मिलियन घरों के लिए क्लीन कुकिंग के लिए मैं सोलार सिस्टम से चलने वाली एनर्जी सिस्टम डेवलप करना चाहता हूँ। उनके लिए उसे बैटरी व्यवस्था विकसित करना चाहता हूँ ताकि सोलार सिस्टम से एनर्जी स्टोरेज भी हो और उसी से कुकिंग भी हो, ताकि हम एनवायरनमेंट को बहुत बड़ी मदद कर सकते हैं। मैंने इस क्षेत्र में काम करने वाली कंपनियों को चैलेंज रूट पर आने के लिए इनवाइट किया है। आप कल्पना कर सकते हैं कि 250 मिलियन इस प्रकार की बैटरियां ना बहुत बड़ा मार्केट है। अगर इस मार्केट को ध्यान में रखें तो कार मैन्युफैक्चरिंग के मार्केट को भी बहुत बड़ा उसके कारण एक प्रकार से क्रॉस सब्सिडाइज हो जाएगा। तो हम उस पर भी बल दे रहे हैं। लेकिन ये बात सही है कि मोबिलिटी के क्षेत्र में ये बहुत बड़ा बदलाव अनिवार्य है।
Prime Minister Abe, thank you for the compliments, because you're still burning coal, but there is no smoke. Have you seen coal stations in Japan? You should probably disseminate it around the world. The same question goes to you.
石炭については、CO2 排出を削減する上でいろんな理論があるのは承知をしておりますが、しかし実際に石炭は世界広く分布をしておりますし、インドや中国をはじめ新興国にとっては貴重な値段の安いエネルギー源であることは事実であります。今、お話があったように、日本の火力発電分野におけるこの技術、例えば排熱利用や高温ガスタービンなどの技術によってですね、世界で最も高い効率を実現しています。
Japanese coal technologies are at the highest level, and in thermal stations we have a standard 20% higher than around the world. And if we would use our technologies for fast-growing economies, then we could reduce the CO2 emissions.
And also in the future, we're going to use gasification and fuel elements, by this raising the efficiency by another 40%. And from the point of view of implementing the carbon-free society, we need some breakthrough innovations to do that. And in this particular regard, the key role will be played by hydrogen, which will not emit CO2. And in this regard, Japan, for the first time in the world, implemented these cars based on fuel element. And now in Fukushima, we are building a plant that will produce hydrogen. That is a major plant, the biggest plant. And next year, during the Olympic Games and Paralympic Games, we're going to use this hydrogen to control cars. The biggest issue with hydrogen is the high cost of it. But we have some long-term strategy that envisages lowering cost of hydrogen down to the level of natural gas by 10 times. We also have some plans of introducing technologies for the CO2 waste management, including artificial photosynthesis technologies. Therefore, Japan will be one of leaders in terms of innovation using the current technologies and state-of-the-art technologies. So it's a good thing that you've raised this issue. We've heard many times today some things that you were consonant about. What is the much promising history in Asia? So environmental protection. Yes, environmental protection is closely interlinked with energy. That is something that we've been talking about. Global warming also impacts Russia, among other countries. I mentioned it at G20 summit. Here in Russia, according to our data, according to international experts, the warming is moving 2.5 times quicker than on the planet in general, and this poses a certain threat to us. First and foremost, in the north, where you were right to mention that the settlements are built on permafrost, and an issue occurs of what we are to do about that. But we support all the international efforts in this area. As you know, we've supported the Paris Agreement. We assumed rather considerable obligations to reduce emissions by about 70% from the base 1990 level, from the baseline level. By the way, the EU countries assumed a more modest obligation from the same, compared to the same baseline year. They assumed to reduce emissions by 60%. And by the way, we were talking about electric cars. Just now, the international organizations have recorded for the first time in history a drastic downfall in the sales of electric cars. There are certain reasons for that. But not only global warming is responsible for all the environmental issues that we have. There's also an issue of gas motor fuel. A lot of cars are used in big cities. They use this fuel. They use all sorts of fuel, including carbons, in the public utility system. This is all part of the program that we have prepared to improve the environmental situation in the country on the whole. This is just a part of the problem. At the same time, I would like to emphasize that globally, the structure of Russian energy is one of the greenest in the world. More than one-third of our energy accounts for hydro energy and nuclear energy, and more than 50% goes for gas, which, as it is well known, is one of the most environmental kinds of fuel among all hydrocarbons, and we're a country rich in hydrocarbons. This is our competitive advantage, and we should never forget that we should make the best and efficient use of this competitive advantage. Well, we should not keep aside from the main trend. We have to think about what will happen tomorrow. We should also consider alternative energy sources, hydrogen energy, for example. Over the recent years, we've introduced about 800 megawatts of capacities based on renewable energy sources. We are working on that. By 2024, we plan to introduce 4.2 or 4.7 gigawatts of these capacities, renewable energy capacities. Just now, together with our Finnish partners, we have put into operation a wind park. We also work on solar energy. We believe this is a very good trend, and we will do our best to make sure our environmental plans are implemented. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Before thanking the participants of this session, I would like to thank the people of Vladivostok. First of all, this city has provided a lot of volunteers for this forum. We would like to thank them in particular. And Vladivostok has not only turned into a platform for this forum and the place where, please, dear delegates, spend as much money as you can here for the tax revenues for this city. But Vladivostok is also becoming a gate to Russia, to the Far East. So let's thank Vladivostok and its people in particular. Let's applaud them. And a special thanks goes to Prime Minister Abe, Prime Minister Modi, President Batulga, President Putin for participating in this plenary session of the Eastern Economic Forum. See you again soon. Thank you.